the idea that when inflation is running at 10%, when private sector pay is rising by about 6%, that the inflation problem is driven in any sense by the public sector, where pay is rising by about 2.2 or 2.4%. It just simply, as a matter of basic common sense, just doesn't compute, right? There is no sense in which, so there are these longer term questions about how do we fund the public services we want, and those are serious questions and are constraints. But the idea that giving public sector workers more at a time when their pay is running way behind the private sector is in any sense going to fuel a wage price spiral, which is the sort of back to the 70s concern, that just doesn't make any sense. And obviously Peston was just transcribing what he'd been briefed by the government, but nonetheless you shouldn't report that in a way which sounds like it might in any world make any actual sense, because it obviously doesn't.
Brilliant. Ben or
Anand, can I just come in? Just picking up on what Jonathan said, I think even if it was a driver in some ways, I think it's a question of what's the right instrument of public policy to control inflation. Should you be trying to do it through public sector pay settlements and using that as the way to keep it down? Or actually, is it the Bank of England's job to control inflation? And the role of setting public sector pay should be with a view to retention and recruitment and delivering the quality of the public services you want. Should you be muddying the waters by telling public sector pay review bodies to consider things like inflation, which they actually are told to consider at the moment, as well as the affordability of any pay settlements within the envelope which the government set long before we had this unexpected spike in inflation? I think that's quite an interesting area. This is a bit technical, but should the public sector pay review bodies just be told to focus on retention and recruitment and delivering public services at the standard we want?